Yeah, just first, just congratulations to the Brewers. It's a very good baseball team and a team that, that deserves and earned their way for the right to play go to the World Series. So that's a good baseball team.
All right, we'll start with questions. We'll start Megan down in the front.
Craig, just how would you describe the feelings, the conversations after the game in the clubhouse, and just the emotions you're feeling right now?
Well, I mean, I'm disappointed. I'm sad. I think this team did a lot to honor the Chicago Cub uniform. And in the big picture, that's how I feel. But what did we do wrong tonight? That's kind of what you're stuck on. And why couldn't we get anything going? So it's hard to get past that right now.
Go up to the third row, Sahadev.
Craig, in general, it seemed like you guys didn't put a lot of pressure on there, but then in the sixth inning, it seemed like the game. You had your key guys up with 2 men on and no outs and couldn't get the big hit. It seemed like that was the theme, not getting the big hit in general this series.
Yeah, I mean, we had 6 base runners tonight, so if you take Seiya's homer and then those 2, that's half of our base runners. So that was the inning, and that was the inning with the middle of the lineup up. Ashby made a pretty darn good pitch, 3-2 to Tucker. Right, it looked like a right down and away on the corner. It was a nasty pitch. Seiya had a good at bat against Patrick for sure. Had good at bats all night. Seiya did, and then then they're kind of they got out of it essentially. They had a chance to get out of it. But that I agree. I mean, that's really the only inning you could talk about. We just didn't do much. We had 6 base runners. You're going to have to hit homers to have any runs scoring in scenarios like that. So they pitched very well. I mean, they pitched super well, and we didn't. The only inning that we really disrupted maybe the plan was the 6th, but the rest of the game they did a heck of a job.
John, second row.
Craig, kind of on going off that, like if you look at the guys who produced tonight, it was Nico, Seiya, and Bush, and the rest of the lineup struggled. Do you put that more on the pitching, or is it some of the approaches and some of the just kind of results that happen?
Look, we faced, this team is loaded with very good pitching. It's certainly a strength of the team, and it's why they won so many games. And, the Misiorowski, got through got 4 innings and got 12 outs for him. And that, put the game in pretty good order for him. They pitched well. They pitched well. We took some good swings off Uribe, just kind of atom balls. But they pitched well.
Down in front, Megan.
From the pitching side on your guys' end, just how did you feel like things unfolded in terms of, laying out how you wanted to use those guys, and then conversely, just being so close with those 2-out solo homers? Yeah.
In general, we pitched well. I think if you'd have told me we gave up 3 runs going into tonight, you probably have to say, yep, we pitched well with kind of running a full bullpen game. I would have been happy with that. When you give up the runs, you can say what if, but they hit some pitches. Maybe Collins' pitch to Andrew Vaughn probably wanted that one back, but Pomerantz's pitch was a pretty darn good pitch. And the guys did their job. It didn't really go necessarily the way that I thought it was going to go, but we did a nice job, and the guys pieced it together.
Was Steve in the second row?
Thanks. Craig, it might be a little hard to consider this question already, but you're 2 seasons in, you improved by I think 9 games, but you haven't won the division, you haven't surmounted the Brewers. Are you encouraged by? Are you pleased with the progress, the trajectory 2 years in?
I mean, we won 92 games this year. You'll take that every single year. I think every team would. The playoffs are a different animal. It's completely different than the season. Totally different. So, ultimately, the reason why you want to win 92 games is because you want to play in a World Series and then win a World Series. And we should have those expectations. We should have them every year. That's why when you say you win 90 games, because you got a chance to win the World Series if you do that. When you don't do it, it's disappointing. But winning 92 games is not disappointing.
Go up to the third row on the aisle.
Hey, Craig. Obviously, both teams well acquainted with each other, both fan bases well acquainted with each other. There's a lot of momentum in Chicago when you guys were there, a lot of momentum here for games 1 and 2. How important is home field advantage in this series, and what can you say about both the crowds at Wrigley and the crowds here?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, it's both ways are fun, really. I mean, it's fun going against a hostile crowd, and it's fun playing on your own crowd, in front of your own crowd. And you got to kind of embrace both, but they're different. Yeah, I mean, I think, you'd rather always have more games at home. The numbers don't necessarily say it's a huge advantage, but absolutely. I wish, to get home field advantage is always one of the goals you have in a season, of course. Skipping the first round is one of the goals you have in the season. We gave ourselves a shot. And I think, that part of it you'd kind of take every year, give yourself a shot.
Tony?
Craig, you said early on that you think this team did a lot to make the Chicago fan base proud, to wear the Chicago Cubs uniform. I'm just curious what kind of stood out to you about this team, either in this series or this year in general?
Well, I mean, there's a lot you can go into, but I think just it's the 5 games we played at Wrigley Field in the playoffs is kind of tells you what about that means so much to it. And I think it meant so much to our players to do that, to provide that for our fans. And that's what you do. You honor the uniform. You honor the place. That's like not the results goal, but that's always like what our job is to do those two things. And we did that. We didn't get it done today, and that hurts, man. It doesn't feel good. But I think when you zoom back a little bit, we did some good things as well.
All right, Craig, we appreciate your time, not only tonight, all week long.
Thanks.
Where'd everybody go? There was 80 of you before the game.
Well, they're all on the.
Oh, yeah, they're getting wet? Yeah, I don't blame them.
All right,
What do we got?
get started with Murph. We'll start with Russ Dorsey, second row.
Murph, 7 years is a long time to go between playoff series victories. When you're sitting in this moment, you see the streamers coming down from the rafters and 42,000 celebrating what you guys just accomplished. What does this moment mean to you, and what was the first thing you said to your room?
Russ, I'm not as concerned about how long it's been since they've won a playoff series. They didn't have to play one this year because they had the best record in baseball. So I don't know if you count that, but to win this series the way we did, I'm just grateful. To be honest with you, I'm just grateful for the guys we have in the room. They've been doubted all year. Everyone. There's nobody predicting the Brewers playing the Dodgers in the series, but. Yeah, I mean, I don't worry about how many years it's been. I know this. We've been in contention every year I've been here, and I'm just thankful for that. You know what I mean? And starting in 17, I guess we've either been in the playoffs or a game away since 17, and that says something about the org, says something about the front office, the ownership, and the coaching staff. But most importantly, understanding the type of player that has to play here. And we got a bunch of them in there. That's pretty special.
Go to JR in the second row.
Tired?
Murph, how closely did that mirror the map that you had in your head for the pitchers? And were there changes you made midstream because, I don't know, did Misiorowski get a fourth inning because he was doing so well, or things, anything along those lines?
Yeah, Miz was gassed. I mean, that was, I would have loved to keep him in. We told him to empty the tank in that last inning. He was magnificent. McGill was magnificent getting us started. And that really set the tone for the game, keeping it close with those two guys. Hats off to McGill for understanding what it took. He's coming off an injury. And then and Misiorowski, who's had some bumps in the road here during his first year, for him to come back again in this same series and pitch so well. And to get 4 innings in. Then the Ashby thing, that it kind of went according to plan, not exactly. But then we saw Ash was a little bit not as sharp as he could have been. It's his 4th time seeing him. And then Chad Patrick was maybe the player of the game because you just don't expect him to be that good, pitched an inning plus. And then, Uribe was first 2 inning save for him, I believe, but he wasn't to be denied.
Go to the second row on the left.
Murph, I was going to ask about the 6th inning with the way the pitching went after giving up, 2 guys on the first 2 runs to get on. What did that show you? Getting a strikeout from Ashby, getting Patrick
huge.
in.
I mean, Ash he's game, man. This guy pitched 4 of the 5 games. Am I right? He pitched in 4 of the 5 games. Him and Chad both. They pitched 4 of the 5 games, and Ashby's willing. He wants to face anybody, anytime, and he's come so far. He's coming off major shoulder surgery for a year ago. So anyway, when he had the first 2 guys on, I'm like, I knew Bush had turned his ankle, and I knew that he probably wasn't going to steal third, but still, what's the best matchup? The pitching coaches, Henderson and Hook, they said, do it, Murph. Go ahead, do it. They led the way in this whole pitching dynamic today. They're the ones that led the way. They said, I wanted Miz to go a little further, and Miz said, I don't know how much I have left, but I could go 1 or 2, and they said, no, let's stop there. It's a good outing for him. Let's go to Ashby in this part of the order. And I followed that, and then they wanted to go Chad Patrick. That was the key, and then go Uribe 2 innings. So really got a lot of help from them.
Go take one in the front.
Bryce had struggled a little bit in the series at the plate. How big was that home run, and what does it say about him that he stayed the course and just? Yeah, I mean, we talked, and between at bats, he was hit the first ball 102, and it was just a little too high. He didn't feel like he was swinging at good pitches. He didn't feel like he got strikes to hit, and he was still swinging. He was disappointed, so he was trying to see the ball longer. Seeing the ball longer sometimes make you not get out to the front zone, and you're not going to hit a pitch like that. You're not going to hit a homer.
And we just talked about, hey, Bryce, you're a great hitter, man. This is just a couple games. You're doing great. You're not getting results, but you're doing great. Just keep swinging the bat. He's hit 4 or 5 balls in this series really hard, and he made a great move on a pitch that he could get out in front and crushed it.
Russ.
We talked before the game about you guys being in this position last year. Obviously, the result different this year. What changed in your mind watching how everything played out that was different this year outside of the result? And what did those 26 guys in the room prove to each other?
Yeah, I mean, after last year, that was the wild card series. We won the division. Wild card series, Mets were hot. They came back and beat us, all right, at the last inning. They were shell-shocked. We were all shell-shocked. And to see the room then, and I just said, hey, guys, somehow this is going to help us. And what I think it did is galvanize the group on how precious, playing every out is, how precious staying relentless is, how precious it is to believe. And then, we've been talking about Uke all year long, and it may sound corny to some, but if you lived it the way we did, Uke's presence was here, and they didn't want to let him down, especially this series, because being close rivals, and I got great respect for the Cubs, believe me, great respect. That's been told many times, but it was important to these guys because it's their rival, to finish the job. So, and they know Uke is smiling.
We'll finish up with JR, and then Murph's got to go take a photo.
So going back to Misiorowski, I wonder if you just go back to the decision to put him on the roster and the faith that you guys showed in him, and if that was a difficult decision now that you've gotten 2 major bulk outings from him in this postseason, right. and also bouncing back from that home run, because it reminds me of this Cubs outing earlier in the year where he struggled and then really found something. I guess I could see that as being a danger point under some circumstances, but obviously not tonight.
I think what we did is we certainly didn't baby him. At the end of the season, if you're following, we put him in a bases-loaded situation in Cincinnati, and he gets a swinging bunt. It ends up being a hit. Then there's a walk and a walk and a hit and a walk, and it's imploded. So instead of giving him a soft landing, we made it tough on him. I didn't spend a lot of time talking to him. I didn't guarantee him anything about the postseason. I didn't try to pump him up. I took another direction on that, and I think he responded. And he really's proven something to me that sometimes you don't understand guys when you first know them, their personalities, that type of thing. And I think he just decided, like, hey, look, I'm going to be the best version of myself for the boys. And that's what our talk was today before the game. It's about the boys. Find your focus. There's a lot of distractions during this time. There's the pit in our stomach. That means something special can happen. And you do it for the boys. And I think Miz understood, like, I owe these guys. I got to do it right.
All right, Murph, thanks for the time.
Thank you, guys.
Congrats on the big win. We'll see you
Okay.
LCS.
You guys stay here with your mom, and I'll you take them. I got to go out for that photo. I'll be back.
Stay here, Jackson. Stay here. Yeah. I thought he just
Okay, we'll get started with Christian Yelich. First question for Christian. Start with Russell here in the second row.
Christian, 2018 was the last time the Brewers made it to the NLCS. You were on that team. What did it mean to make this happen on your home field, the streamers falling down, and feeling that atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, it was huge. It was an unbelievable atmosphere tonight. You know, the two fan bases going back and forth, and Game 5 in this series. I feel like we had a feeling before it started that, you know, we played each other so close all season long that this series was probably going to go 5, and it was going to be a lot of ups and downs. And to credit to our guys for sticking with it, being mentally tough, and being able to finish the job here, and just a huge win for us.
Go to the front row.
Hey, Christian. Jacob with 2 fantastic performances during this series, Game 2 and then again tonight. What can you say about, you know, how he started off so hot this year, then kind of struggled a little bit, and the way he responded in the playoffs?
It was unbelievable. I mean, all the credit goes to him. You know, this game's about persevering through the ups and the downs and the adversity that you're going to face. And, you know, that was true for him. You know, he had a lot of ups and downs. He had a lot of highs. He had some low moments. But we're definitely not winning this series if it's not for him. You know, he's pitched a ton of huge innings for us. And Game 2 and then tonight he was unbelievable and really settled the game down and set the tone for the rest of the guys out of the pen. You know, Chad was huge coming in and getting a bunch of big outs. And then, you know, Uribe for 2 at the end there was awesome. So that's why you celebrate. You know, you celebrate with your teammates and your friends that you've had to grind through the season with, and you know, watch them take huge strides in their career. So it was really fun to be a part of.
Back to Russell.
Christian, you guys got eliminated on this field last year in an elimination game. A year later, what do you think that experience in that wild card round against the Mets taught you guys to prepare for this game tonight?
Yeah, I mean, just go at it, you know, fearless. You know, you can't really lose them tougher than we did last year, you know. So going into the night, like, you just play with a bunch of freedom. You know that you've got belief and trust in your teammates that we're going to be able to get the job done. And well, that's exactly what we were able to do, you know. And this group's come together all season. We've faced a lot of tough moments. We've battled through our own fair share of adversity. And it was just a big win for us tonight, a big win for the organization, for the fan base, for, you know, everybody. You know, we really wanted to make sure that we were able to deliver tonight and throughout this series. So just a great night overall.
Jack, second row.
Christian, after all the early action in the first inning for a lot of this series, to have Trevor come out and put up a 0 right away and the emotion that he showed coming off the mound, what does that do for you guys setting the tone?
That was awesome. You know, like you said, we just needed to settle down the game and if we felt like before the game we were kind of talking about it, like, if we can just get this game underway and we can throw a 0 in the first inning, we can kind of settle this thing down a little bit. We really like our chances to go out there and be able to execute and push a few across. And we were just talking amongst ourselves tonight, like, hey, we just play our game. We're going to execute. You know, Trev's going to go out, throw 0, and then, you know, we're going to be off and running. And that's kind of what happened.
All right, Christian, appreciate the time.
Okay,
Congrats on the win.
Yep.
Bring Andrew and Jacob up.
That's fine. Sit next to him. He only stinks a little bit right now.
All right, we'll get started. First question for Andrew Vaughn or Jacob Misiorowski. We'll start with Jack, second row.
Just for both of you guys, is this a position you expected to be sitting in at this time of year at the start of the season?
You know, definitely not. You know, journey's been kind of crazy, but, you know, not taking anything for granted. You know, the opportunity to be with this group it's changed my life, honestly, you know, and just grateful for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just add on with Vaughn saying, you know, it's amazing to be here. It's outstanding. It's fun.
For the front row.
Jacob, Murph mentioned you were pretty gassed by the end of that 4th inning. How much did you have, you know, when you knew you were pitching tonight, how much did you think you had, and what, you know, how much did you leave out there on the mound?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I knew exactly how much I had. I think it was, you know, I was giving everything I got, and, you know, I think I left everything out there. So, you know, happy with where they pulled me, and turn it over to Ashby, and it's awesome.
Let's go up to the third row.
How did that home run field take the lead?
Oh, that was huge. Big moment, big moment there. Swung the momentum into our dugout. It was huge. Got everybody fired up. The crowd was unbelievable, and they stayed loud all night after that.
Let's go to JR in the second row.
Jacob, can you put your finger on what, if anything, changed for you late in the season to have these two bulk outings essentially in the playoffs? And tonight's not walking anybody. Like it feels like you turned a corner at some point. I don't know if you'd feel the same way about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think just the work Hook's been doing with me, and but it feels about the same. It maybe a few outings ago, I mean, it was a little different, but excited to be where I'm at.
Russell, second row.
Andrew, I know you're always pretty even-keeled. Jacob, you pitch with so much emotion. I'm curious for the both of you guys, coming into an elimination game with the emotion of this series, how do you guys kind of channel that in your own individual ways?
Yeah, I think we came together as a group today. The biggest thing was go out there and play for each other. Don't think about yourself, stats. Who cares? Go out there, play for each other, have each other's backs, and try to win. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's very much to add. I mean, I'm always going to be fired up. I'm excited to be here, but I'm just trying to perform for the team and get a team win.
Jack?
Miz, this is your second time facing these guys here in this series, and you've got a lot of big outs on the secondary pitches, leaning on the breaking balls more. Was that part of the plan going in, or an adjustment, and just how did having all of your pitches help you tonight?
No, I mean, I think it was just an adjustment, Suzuki jumping on a heater and, kind of realizing, oh, that's what they're going to go with, and, going with it.
Take one more in the front.
With the home team winning all 5 games in the series, and, we saw how wild the crowd was, both the first 2 games here, the 2 games at Wrigley tonight. What can you say about the home crowd and what home field advantage means in general, and then specifically about the crowd tonight?
Yeah, I mean, playing in front of your own fans is always special. They're rooting for you, and then, we had those 2 great games. Get down to Wrigley, it was, they were loud. They were cheering for their guys, and, getting to get back here, play Game 5, and to have the crowd like that was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, the support the cities give us is insane. It's unreal, and it's a lot of fun.
All right, guys. Appreciate your time. Congrats on the win. That concludes tonight's post-game interview room.